Hello everyone and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I wanted to talk about some of the best AFK silver activities you can do. Now this is one of the popular questions I get a lot, and I figured let's talk about it because not everyone can play Black Desert all day every day. So I thought I'd share some things that you could do semi AFK, full AFK, and that are, you know, pretty decently good for silver and stuff. Some of them might require a little bit of an investment first, as in like you have, you know, some mastery or gear first, but some things I think you could do as a beginner, and then obviously the more you do it, the more silver you make over time. So number one being AFK fishing. As we all know, a couple of months ago they buffed fishing to the point where it's, you know, actually good now. And if you haven't been playing for the past year or I guess a couple of months, basically they added a lot more rare fish into the game that are worth hundreds of millions, if not a billion silver. And they added it all through the world in different fishing spots. And there's like a Google sheet somewhere out there that basically lists everything and all the decent spots. So yeah, if you have a little bit of a setup, you don't even have to have any of the pay to win stuff these days. It's a couple hundred mil all the way to maybe couple billion silver overnight, and it's actually worth doing if you don't play a lot and you just get silver. It's pretty nice. So I have a video talking about what you could do to start AFK fishing. I'll leave it in the description. It's a little bit more detailed and it's a little bit on the longer side of a video, but it tells you how to start, what you need, and some decent spots that I would recommend. So you guys can check that one out, and it's pretty cool. Next thing we have, I have a little bit list of, by the way, is horse training. Now this one kind of is not as much silver as it was before, ever since they gave the tier 10 horse away for free. But it's still pretty decent, and it's something that you just do AFK when you're like at work, come home later, and then your horses trained, got skills, and it's decent silver. So the way it works is like you just catch a few horses, and then even if you're not training them to have all the best skills, and then, you know, you just are leveling them up to sell them on the market level 30, and then let people decide what they want to do with that after, it's pretty decent. So here's how it works. Basically you get a horse, right? And you know how when you go into town you see people just like going auto pathing back and forth? Yeah, so that's how it works. And what I would recommend doing is auto pathing either in the safe zone, which, you know, is fine, or auto pathing in spots where there aren't too many like terrain obstacles like rocks that you could get stuck on. A few of my favorite spots are actually in the morning light, and, you know, like they have like straight lines that like minimal obstacles. And some other places I like doing that are pretty straightforward is from, you know, I guess Olvia, when you go around here, and then all the way to Eferia, because it's a kind of a straight line, not too many turns, and there's not too many obstacles, which is the most important part. So if you don't know, this is how you do it. I have a video on how to horse train and stuff, but that one's kind of old. So first of all, set your marker. It doesn't matter where. And then you see how there's a set loop. Notice how by default your line is blue. Now when you set a loop, it turns green. And what that means is you go from point A to point B where you set it, right? And then after that, your horse goes point A, B, and you just AFK and set your thing. But usually what I'd recommend for people is when you set your path, just watch it for the first cycle just to make sure you're not getting stuck on anything, and then you go AFK. And the real profit comes in is when you sell like a tier 8 at level 30, so people can self-breed their horses into a tier 9. Some tier 9s, if you have good stats on it, usually the Argonaut or the Pegasus is the most popular, just because I think it's the most useful across the board. Or people who are looking to get the Krogdalos Sanctuary, which is this one. It's actually really nice to have, to be honest. It's very convenient, even though I don't use it as much. So what it does is it allows you to do this. It basically mobile or portable horse stable for all your tier 10s and everything. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Next thing I want to talk about is your node setup. Now, this is something that you should be doing early on, and whether you're a new player or not, make sure to set up your nodes and workers. You see this number over here? This is your contribution points. The number on the left is how many points you have available, and the one on the right is your total. So the number on the left, you want this to be as close to 0 as possible. That means you're using all your contribution points. And I have a video on here that you could look at, but ultimately when you pick your nodes and everything for yourself, what I would recommend people doing is pick stuff that you think would be a bottleneck for you, or you just don't like gathering yourself. So that way, if you do any cooking, alchemy, processing, or whatever, you have the materials just going at all times. So I think that's just good, so you don't have to gather it. Otherwise, in the video, I talk about what I consider high value nodes and things that most people get. And that one's like a 30-minute video, so you could just see what I have connected. TLDR, timbers, ores, and like saps are high value, and stuff that work well with cooking and alchemy, and to basically get more contribution points. Like, let's say you cook a lot of where is it? Like you cook a lot of chicken meat or something, grilled bird meat. Notice I have 1 million of them. I will probably never use all 1 million for as long as I play BDO. But the reason why sometimes you just want to mass process things to get the Witch's Delicacy or the equivalent of Mysterious Catalyst for alchemy and all that stuff. And mostly you just want to boost your contribution points, and you just do that by, actually cooking or alchemy, whatever. So yeah, make sure to set that up as soon as possible. It's a good idea. And the next thing I want to talk about is farming. Now, this one isn't like super profitable, but it's not something you actively do most of the time. You do it maybe like 2 to 4 times a day. And the way it works is you set your crops, right? You don't have to copy mine. This just works on my schedule for the things I need. And then you could put a worker on every one of these, right? And essentially what that does is it prunes all your crops for you, and then make sure that they grow in a faster time. And this is the AFK method. If you don't, and you want to harvest and prune all your crops yourself, then it's probably better and more XP if you do it. But after Master 1 farming, it feels kind of irrelevant, not gonna lie, because all you want to do is get to Master 1 to get the sturdy fences, or the old moon ones, the ones that are like smaller, so you can have more in one area. But yeah, grow the things you need, turn it into these thingies, and then you could either turn it into horse materials, or you could turn it into contribution points, which is what I personally do. I've been trying to push like more, which allows you to do more Imperial delivery every day, and just overall more silver daily. So the next thing I want to talk about is cooking, alchemy, processing. These are all AFK activities. It does require you to either gather or collect the materials as a start. But with that said, once you get enough materials, you just cook the thing that you think is profitable. That changes all the time, and that's how you make your profits. So once you find a recipe that works for you, or whether you use it yourself and not whatnot, basically you just get it and you're good to go. So find something and it works. The last thing I want to talk about is a little bit on the different side. It's bartering. And now, as we all know, they changed bartering recently, and all of these, they raised the price of, the amount of silver you get for Margoria turn-ins, and just a lot of improvements across the board. So it does require you to have a ship, but you can basically auto path from point A to B. And how does that work? So for example, let's say we're going to take this material right here, this thingy. You click this button, it takes you to where it could exchange, and then you turn it into a level 3. Pick that one. You exchange from 3 to 4, 4 to 5. That's how you make money in this game. And then you literally just auto path from point A to B to C, and it's kind of a semi AFK. That means you still have to be at your computer, but it's like you auto path from there and then go AFK for a few minutes, come back, do it again. So it's not something that you're actively really doing, but semi AFK. So there's probably a lot more, but for the sake of not keeping this video too long, I just wanted to make a little bit of a list of like 6 things that I think are good. AFK fishing, very profitable these days. Horse training, it's still decent. It requires a little bit of knowledge to know what you're doing, and then finding, like, keeping up to buffs and everything so you can level up fast. Node setup, all you have to do is set it up like once and you're good to go forever, I guess. Farming is semi AFK. You do this a couple times a day actively. Cooking, alchemy, and processing are, I would say, AFK, but you kind of have to check it back every like 15-20 minutes or so, and then like reset the cycle, and ultimately not a big deal. Bartering is semi AFK, but if you're like playing another game, you know, let's take, like, I don't know, a Call of Duty game where every match is like 10-15 minutes. That's a perfect thing. You could do that, play another game, come back, reset, play another game. It's how it is. So yeah, with that said, that's what I wanted to talk about. If you liked it, maybe I'll make a part 2. And thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you later. Peace.